Look, none of us are getting any younger, but that doesn't mean we can't feel younger. Healthy mitochondrial function is essential for supporting overall health, including cognitive function, immunity, muscle strength and endurance, and skin vitality. About 70% of us don't have the right gut microbiome to produce it naturally, so supplementation is the only way. Enter MitoPure, a powerful science-backed ingredient created by Timeline, the leaders in cellular health. MitoPure is clinically proven to help clear out the old, worn-out mitochondria, the energy centers of your body, to give you the reboot you need from the inside out. I use MitoPure because it helps my mitochondria. That is my power plant. That is my internal power plant that's allowing my energy level to feel optimal. So this is a supplement that I personally started taking years ago already, and this has become, a keeper in my supplement regimen. Right now, Timeline is offering 20% off your first order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/stronger. That's TIMELINE.com/stronger for 20% off. Before we get to the episode, I just want to shout out The Post for being the official home of the Stronger podcast in Manhattan. The Post is the only private membership network connecting athletes turned business leaders, and we love recording the show at their facility. Check them out over at thepost.co. And don't forget, on every episode of Stronger, we take your calls, and I want to hear from you. If you have any questions for me and one of my guests, call 1-855-348-3546. Leave a message anytime, and if your question is a good fit, we'll have you on a future episode of Stronger. That's 1-855-348-3546. Let's get to the show.
Blind Nil Audio.
The hardest days are the ones I'm most thankful for. Without those, the feelings of gratitude and success that you have are minuscule because you have nothing to compare it off of, right?
Part of looking back now and that grind, and you go through these things, and in the moment, you feel like your life's gonna end. But looking back on it now, there are moments where you say, some of the greatest moments I've ever had in business.
Welcome to Stronger. Today on the show is my very good friend, Justin Tupper. As the founder of Revolution Golf, Justin eventually found his way to NBC Sports. And the key to his success, resilience and perseverance. I'm Don Saladino. Let's get stronger with Justin Tupper.
I'm introducing you guys right now to my dear friend, Justin Tupper. So Tup, the mission of this podcast is, one, I want people to understand that fitness, wellness, it could be for all of us.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we get discouraged because we see someone online who's, so good at this and they're so intense, and it scares people and it makes them think that, well, I can't do that, or I don't have the time to do that, or I have an injury. I think my guests that I'm bringing on, they're people that have been, incredible in their field. They're all master in their field, but they also have a little bit of this health and wellness in their life. Sure. It's been a driving force for them. So I couldn't think of anyone more appropriate to do this with than you. You're someone, I think, even around all the great business minds that I'm around, I put you at the top. Like you're the one person, like you're the one person that I'm calling for advice on things, situations, because I think your temperament with people is exceptional. Your business sense is exceptional, but I think how you deal with people and the negotiation, your thoughtfulness is on another level. So my goal, my mission with this podcast is to make this incredibly relatable to people. And if they cannot get off the couch at all, and they have not been able to do one workout, then I can get them to doing 5 minutes of something each day, then I'm winning. And that's the whole goal here.
No, it's a great goal, because I can tell you through personal experience is when you do get off that couch and you get your body moving, it's incredible the ancillary things that happen to you. You might make a better decision that next day. You might eat a better meal. You might say no to this because you got to do this tomorrow in your workout. And it's these little pieces of momentum that it's like the proverbial snowball going down the hill. That little bit of momentum can help in a lot of different ways. And I think you're going to find when you hear other people's stories that undoubtedly there at some point in their life, I would think that fitness and being thoughtful about how they treat their body has contributed to whatever their success might look like. And I don't mean monetary success. It could be relationship success. It could be success in their faith. It could be success in however they define success. I do think there's no question that feeling good, creating certainty through your habits is something that is necessary to everybody's story. So I think it'll be fun.
Justin, for me to even intro him, I'm not going to do it enough justice, but Justin was originally the founder and CEO of a company called Revolution Golf that you started in your parents' garage.
Yeah, it was actually it was like a rental house that I had in Beaufort. Yeah.
But this was a golf membership site, which I think you had up to like 3 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And your goal was to build this thing up. And I guess your dream was to sell to Golf Channel, right? Early on. And that's what you did.
I mean, I thought that would be a really cool thing to do because.
But you did it.
I did. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. It was a pretty wild story. It was not straight up into the right. It was, you saw a lot of the trials and tribulations of it. But no, I actually started like literally selling DVDs, man. In 2008 is how I started. And
but you're obviously everyone doesn't know is Justin was a collegiate golfer, right?
Well, a failed collegiate golfer.
Okay,
I tried my best.
Justin's a scratch golfer,
Yeah.
phenomenal player. I played with him. He was the last member guest I've ever played in was with you.
Yeah.
My next will be with you. And you know, your game, it just shows how competitive the game is. But you, I think, have a love for the game of golf that like no other out there. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, look, the game of golf has been wonderful to me. It has been a big part of my life. I'm an only child. My parents didn't play golf. I found a set of golf clubs out in Eastern Long Island, out in Southampton, in my grandmother's garage that belonged to my grandfather. I learned to hit balls there. And growing up an only child, golf is a great game because my parents would literally drop me off at the golf course. Back in the good old days, they'd say, figure out a way home. I would go out there. It was a game for me that I got to meet a lot of different people. For some reason, I was okay. I was a pretty good golfer. I think it was just because I was enamored with it, and I spent a lot of time doing it. And that helped open up doors for me. I was not a good student in high school. I'm very dyslexic. School was very hard for me. College was even harder. And golf was a place I could sort of build my confidence. And so it was a great game to me. And then lo and behold, later on in life, it's, continued to be great. To this day, it's great to me. So
you came up with this idea of becoming a golf content site. And what was interesting, kind of in the era where DVDs were, I mean, I don't want to say when you started not fizzling out, but they were about to start fizzling out. Even to the point that when you brought me aboard Revolution Golf, we're shooting DVDs and I'm like, DVDs? And you're like, no, the target demographic is a bit more seasoned. They're a bit older and DVDs are what they're into. But what I learned from you was I know, I'm not going to say I think, you were a marketing genius when it came down to speaking to the customer, and you're the person who got me comfortable on camera. Yeah. So even right now in my book that I'm writing, there's a section in it I kind of dedicate a few sentences to you, and you're the one who got me ready to be able to have a conversation. I'll never forget it. I remember you bringing in your camera crew. We're sitting there one day. I'm starting to botch up a couple lines, and you're like, listen, look at the camera, find the person you're most comfortable with. I'm thinking my mom, my wife, whatever. You got to talk to them like you're trying to explain to them what it is you're trying to do. Stop trying to articulate this perfectly and sound like this scholar that listen, I stutter. There's things I do just there that I learned to embrace because of you. Yeah. And my trajectory, I think, in the whole marketing world, I honestly, I'm grateful for you on that.
Well, look, the feeling's mutual there. I do remember that day in the back in the turf section. And I knew also it would be hard at the beginning. I remember the first time I got in front of these cameras and the light starts blinking, and all of a sudden you've got three voices in your head, right? When you first start this and you're not used to it. And it was hard, but I knew I knew not only that you would get through it but you would learn to excel at it, that because you would consistently do it, you would become an expert in it. And now look at you all this time later, you're terrific at it.
Thank you, man. And I'm gonna admit something to you right now that I've never told anyone. That person a lot of times on the camera ended up becoming you.
Thanks.
that when I end up looking at that camera and I'd be in a situation where they've got to get this in this take, or I'm shooting with now GolfPass, Golf Channel.
Yeah.
I would just be like, envision you're speaking at top. And I think that was something where I'm so grateful for those reps. And now even transitioning over to GolfPass, I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse right now, but can you just, to give everyone a little bit of context, can you talk about the areas now in business that you're involved in?
Yeah. It's funny that no one's journey. I mean, I can say this for myself. I can say it for you. You're one of my best friends. I know your journey intimately. None of them go how you think they're going to go. Like, we all have this idea of how business or how life or how your career may go. And one thing is absolutely 100% sure. It is true. It is not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
Amen.
Now, we all make choices on that path. And in those choices end up shaping us and how we do it. But yeah, for me, it started DVDs, literally DVDs in my house, selling them. I had a couple hunches. The hunches turned out to be pretty right. One, I knew my market. I knew my customer because I was one of these irrational golf nuts. I knew what makes us golfers, anybody who's watching golf, anybody who's married to a golfer that may be watching this, we're a little bit crazy, right? We make irrational decisions. I tell everybody, in college, I had about $500 in my bank account. My truck needed brakes, but the new Ping driver came out. Guess what I bought?
Let's go.
Right. I got the new driver.
Good decision.
Yeah, I mean, the brakes are squeaking, but I figured
Brakes are fine.
yeah,
They're overrated.
they'll stop eventually. That's so like being able to market to an audience of people that are that passionate, make irrational spending decisions around it was great. And so I started I knew the market. I knew what made people tick in it. And so along at that same time, the internet was frankly cranking up into an interesting way with, YouTube had been out. Google had just bought YouTube. Mm-hmm. Google had just started this ad platform called AdWords at the time. There was no competition in it. I had loved the internet since the day I had dialed up for the first time on a CompuServe computer in like late 90s. I was a believer in the internet, and I'd love to tell stories and use video. And so I kind of combined all that together and started selling DVDs using Google AdWords, and literally started selling 1 or 2 a day, then 5 a day, then 15 a day, then 50 a day, then 100 a day, then 500 a day. And I would literally at one time had a house full of DVDs that I was packing into boxes, and the UPS guy was coming 3 times a day. And I had an American Express credit card, and I would spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in a day on Google AdWords. And I would sell $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 worth of DVDs. And I would stay up till 12:01, and the merchant account would put the money into my bank account. 12:02, I would log on to American Express, and I'd pay my American Express bill.
That's awesome.
And I did that for about 400 days in a row, never missing one single day. Packing them all, so on and so forth. And then this is before, what I'm about to tell you is before Netflix. It was even before Apple was selling apps in their app store. I thought to myself, these golfers, yes, they want a DVD to improve their golf game, but what if I could get it to them like instantly? Like, what if that person the night before their corporate outing, they don't want to embarrass themselves on the first tee. What if I could deliver them a video? Now, this all sounds like very duh at the moment talking about this, but in 2009, this wasn't the case.
It's almost 20 years ago at this point.
Yeah, I know.
15 years ago.
I know.
That's cutting edge.
Yeah, it was cutting edge. So one night, I literally took all the DVDs, uploaded them to server, and made links for every single video. And I flipped over to where I was selling DVDs to selling a digital downloadable video that would be in your fingertips on your computer within seconds of purchase. And that was like my thing. You're going to get immediate golf instruction from this. And I kept running the same ads, and all of a sudden, literally the next day, I look and my conversion rate is doubling, then it's tripling. So now I'm making at the same price, by the way. So I'm selling air at the same price I was selling physical DVDs. And that is when I went, now I don't have to sit in this house here in South Carolina. And literally on a Friday, packed up 3 bags of clothes and my golf clubs and took a one-way ticket to New York, and I still haven't been home.
And you actually never told me that.
Yeah.
So you ended up coming to the city. What, like, did you rent a place before?
I did. I stayed at the Gramercy Park Hotel for the first 5 nights.
Beautiful.
It used to be open.
What'd that cost you?
A lot. It was expensive, and I found a realtor, and I found a house, and I moved up here, and I was like, I got something here. I don't know what I have, but I've got something. And, you know, I was selling a lot of content. Nobody understood it. Nobody quite knew what I was doing.
But you were partnering with different coaches. Like, you had really well-known golf coaches.
Well, I had good golf coaches because I was doing, like, I literally in 2009 was, you know, selling $1 million a month of downloadable videos. And so I could go to a golf coach. How old were
you at that time? 33,
36, 37, somewhere in there.
Good God.
And, but I wasn't, like, I literally was investing every dollar into the golf company. I was living on very little, all I could to survive in New York. I was building it and, you know, started to build it more. And that story, you know, I started selling digital downloadable stuff. And then I met you in 2011, I think.
Yeah, it was around 2010, 2011.
Yeah. I maybe came into the gym the first time in 2010.
You did. Then we started.
And then maybe we started filming in 2011, you know?
Yeah. And I didn't know what to expect, right? I obviously knew golf fitness well. I went through all TPI 3 training.
Yeah.
We had a golf fitness training facility. It was actually a perfect fit.
Yeah.
You were in the city. We had indoor simulators. We had this golf area.
Yeah.
And you and I became friends. I think we became training partners.
Yeah.
And we started shooting content. I'll never forget, like, the first DVD I shot. And I feel like that was about the time where DVDs were on their way out.
We're probably like transitioning, like the last bit of our sales of DVDs were probably in 2011.
Right. So I remember people calling me and being like, "You're selling a DVD? Like, get with the times." And I'm like, "No, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, he understands his market." And you called me up. I'm not going to go through numbers, and you told me what the amount was, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a good number for the year." And you're like, "No, that was for the month."
Yeah.
And I was like,
"Yeah,
what are you talking about?" Like,
we were doing sales where we would go, like, it would be, all right, so we would offer the DVD for $97. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, the DVD was like $67. The digital download was like $57, or you could get them both for $57. It was like a no-brainer offer, right?
Yeah, sure.
And at that time, and that's how we phased our way out of DVDs. That's how we kept our people that still had DVDs that didn't want to download onto the computer or were scared to download a video off the internet. That's how we kind of kept those customers around.
This episode of Stronger is brought to you by Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth offers temperature regulating sheets guaranteed to give you a comfortable night's sleep. These sheets naturally help you sleep several degrees cooler, so it's perfect for summer nights. Now, I was just traveling. I'm on a road trip, and every hotel I slept in, my body ran hot. So when I got home, even last night, jumping into my own bed, and just from sleeping in my cozy sheets, I noticed that my body temperature was cooler, and I noticed that my sleep quality was much more optimal. Right now, you can try Cozy Earth's bamboo sheets risk-free with their 100-night sleep trial. Try them during the hottest nights of the year. And if you're not in love, return them hassle-free. But trust me, you won't want to. There's a 10-year warranty on all bedding products. That's a decade of cool, quality sleep. Luxury shouldn't be out of reach. Go to CozyEarth.com and use code STRONGER for up to 40% off Cozy Earth's best-selling temperature-regulating sheets, apparel, and more. Trust me, you'll feel the difference the very first night. That's CozyEarth.com, code STRONGER. Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, stay cozy.
I'll never forget there was a day in New York City where I'm over there, we're like pressing.
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me this until years later.
Yeah.
By the way. And I keep watching you walk to the front desk and you're leaning over the front desk and you're checking your phone and you literally look like you were going to get sick all workout. And I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? Like, come on, are you? No, I'm fine. And like after a set, you would drop the bar and literally run to the desk.
Yeah.
Now I know what happened. This is
Yeah.
fascinating to me. Give us a story.
Yeah. So as business grew, we started spending more and more on Google AdWords. And we would have days, Don, where we'd spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in a day in 24-hour period. And
This is in 2011, 2012,
yeah,
right?
2011, 2012. And like, we were making it back, but some days we wouldn't make it all back, so on and so forth. And we went through this kind of time where it felt like we were doing good, but at the end of the day, we had a credit line with Google that was our only source of traffic. And basically, if we defaulted on that, they would shut off our traffic and basically never offer our business the ability to do it again.
That's catastrophic, by the way. That's not
Catastrophic for us at the time because we had pushed all our chips in on paid advertising as opposed to building an SEO business. And I get this call from my COO on a Thursday, and she's like, hey, we've been looking and we owe Google Monday or Tuesday of next week, we owe Google $880,000 or they're going to turn us off. And we didn't have $880,000. So I was like, okay. So that, it's a tough call to get before the weekend. And I went to like Central Park that day, which Central Park has a very special place in my heart. I've figured out a lot of my troubles in life in that park and love to visit it to this day. But went on a long walk around the whole outer loop, which is about, 7 or 8 miles.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can I do to make $880,000 over the next couple of days? Remind you, I don't have my film crew wasn't there or anything. I was like, all right, I've got this community of people. I've got a lot of people. I've always learned from, people, there's two ways to grow a business. You can add more customers or you can get more money from the customers that you already have. Well, I don't have enough time to add more customers. So how can I get more customers from the ones I already have?
It's smart that you recognized out of the gate rather than panicking that
Yeah.
there was really only one solution here.
Yeah.
You're not shooting some magical video.
No.
You're not adding more customers.
Yeah.
The only route that you had was to go to your existing clientele
Yeah.
and offer them something.
Exactly. And so I literally came home from Central Park I think it was either Saturday or Sunday. The bill was due on Tuesday. And I shot a video on my laptop that I went to all of our subscribers at the time. And we had a paid subscription called RG Plus, and it was $97 a month. And I went to the subscribers and I said, hey, here's the deal. I've heard from a lot of you, which I had. Everything was true in this, that you hate reoccurring bills on your credit card. You love our product. So here's an offer I'd like to make you for today for the next 3 days. If right now you want to become a member of RG Plus for a lifetime, never receive another bill for us, it will be one price of $297. Now, it's an
Where'd you come up with that number, by the way?
I came up with it because I thought if I could get 3,000 people into this program at $300 a person, that would get me to $900,000 is what I was trying to do, right? I was trying to get that money together.
Perfect.
And so I kind of reverse engineered my way into it. Plus, I realized the average Revolution Golf person, if I could get somebody to subscribe to us for 2.5 years, that's kind of a win anyway. So I was like, why don't I just get the money up front for that time, right? So I literally shot this video as sincere as I couldn't be. I did not tell them that I owed $880,000 by Tuesday, and everybody that subscribed would help.
Man.
But nonetheless, I put it together. I called our COO. I was like, hey, put this in our cart, make it $297, make it not renewing one time, and click the button that will give them RG Plus for the long as we have our business. And side note, I'm happy to say that 14 years later, there are still people on this program that have never paid another dime for their whole life. Not a lot of them, but there's still, probably a few hundred out there. And so I did that. And the next morning I was coming to train with you at 6 a.m. down at Drive 4095. And the email, I think we were training around 7. Got there early like I like to do, eat a little breakfast from your fridge, have a little coffee. And that email went out at 7 a.m. And that's what I was doing. That email, we started training at 7 a.m. When you train with Don, you go through mobility first, you roll, you get your body nice and warm before you touch any weight. Sometimes that's 20, 30 minutes because when we're on. So, man, I'm sitting there. I'll never forget you in the middle of drive in the one area with the mirrors. Okay, we had the treadmills here. You had a clock that was right here because I remember staring at
Right
that
over
thing.
the treadmills.
Right over those bad boys.
Right over the windows looking out on the
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was sitting there rolling. And I was like, okay, it's 7. That email probably went out. And I'm just thinking, oh, this is either going to go one of two ways. Like, and I always put my phone up. Never had my phone on me when we trained.
It's always on the counter.
Always on the counter
Like
because
plugged
you
in.
guys
Yeah,
let me
you're the
charge it up there.
Yeah.
Everybody threw it up there to charge. And you knew your phone was safe. Nobody in there wanted another phone.
Yeah, exactly.
We all had one too many anyway. And dude, we started going. And like by the end of that warm-up, I was like, all right, it's 7:20 a.m. It's on a Monday. Let me go look. And I was like, so I had this thing on my phone where I'd go to the secure website and I could see the sales coming through. And like, I remember, and I looked and there were already like 100 sales or something like, or maybe 200 or maybe 300 sales in the first 30 minutes, which I'm like 300 times 300. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's good. And long story short, I finished that workout that day, and I think we had like maybe 600 or 700 sales. And by the next 2 days, we actually put about 6,000 people. So I raised I think I raised like 1.8 million.
Oh my God.
So
brilliant.
From our customers, and paid Google like there was no sweat on that Tuesday morning.
I don't think I know a business person that doesn't have their story of like, well, I had to come up with X amount of money.
100%. Fred Smith from FedEx had $5,000 left, went to Vegas. He figured he was going to go one or two ways. The guy who founded it, and he turned it into 21,000. This is like in 1972. And that's what kept him afloat. Every entrepreneur at some point, you're going to be in a flat pickle, man. There's no question about it. I don't care who you are. You're going to be in a pickle. And it's just about how are you going to deal with that? Because if you don't, you're the first person in the history of entrepreneurship that hasn't found themselves there. And there's only a couple ways to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't really know of anyone who just jumped in the business and had this steady climb.
No.
And I think that's a big misconception today is people see the finished product, right?
Yeah.
When I say the finished product, they see the guy sitting on the yacht or, who has this like global powerhouse.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the reps that they had to put in or the risk they had to take. And it's actually, in a way, when I say it's upsetting, it doesn't keep me up at night.
Yeah.
But part of looking back now and that grind, though in the moment, I ran into a lot of financial issues with Drive, American Express shutting my car down, Con Ed shutting my power down. And you go through these things, and in the moment, they feel like your life's going to end. But looking back on it now, there are moments where you say, some of the greatest moments I've ever had in business.
Dude, I'll tell you a quick story that I do every single year. I just did it this past December 13th here in the city. I had this time. So golf, as you can imagine, is seasonal, right? And we used to, in the winter time, we would have a rough go of it, man. So if you had a rough winter, golf wasn't on their mind at the moment, and sales would just go really far down. And I still had 90 employees to look after and all the overhead that any big business would have. And, these are troubles that anybody watching this is. And I remember one day distinctly, I had a WeWork office on 34th and 5th. I lived on 66th and 3rd. So I'd walk about 35 blocks home every night. Rain, sleet, snow, didn't matter. I walked in. It was my time, listen to some tunes, chill out, get my steps in and get home. And I remember this day clear as day. I was walking home, man. It was a Wednesday night. It was cold. The holidays were over. You were back to the hustle of New York. And it was starting to sleet out. And I had my backpack and I had my jacket on. And I was going home, man. And I was broken. I was broke. Business was not doing well. I had a lot of bad stuff going on. And I remember distinctly just crying, just walking down 3rd Avenue, literally crying with tears going down my face. Getting home that night, kind of crying myself to sleep. And by the way, this is like a 40-year-old man. This isn't like a little child.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, though, I had this moment during walking home, when it felt like everything was crashing in. And frankly, my biggest fear of moving to this city in New York City, my biggest fear was having to leave here because I couldn't make it. Because this city will chew you up and spit you out.
Yep.
And to the fact that I remember the most happy I've ever been in my life was leaving here on June 15th, 2017, in a car, listening to New York, New York in my headphones, because I'd stayed the night at the Essex House, JW Marriott, because all my stuff had gone to Florida after I sold my business. And I remember being so happy that morning going, I left this place my way. Like, I left here.
Yeah.
I came here, I conquered, I left. But on that walk, I was crying. And I remember thinking, someday I'm going to appreciate this, right? And now at 50 years old, this past December, I was up here on work, and it was about 4:00 in the afternoon. And people I work with were like, we're going to go grab dinner. You want to come with us? And I was like, I've got plans tonight. And I've done this the last 7 years in a row in December. Christmas is playing, families are here. I take a car down to 34th and 5th, and I walk back to my apartment building. And I sit there, no headphones. I just suck up the city. And I'm so thankful to my life, to the challenges. And I'm thankful for those days of the hardest days are the ones I'm most thankful for. And I get all the way to my building, and now the same door guys are there. And I flip them a few $100 just to see them.
Yeah.
They give me a big hug. They're not even my doormen anymore. But I couldn't do that when I lived there. But to do that now, it feels like the greatest thing. And I tell you all that to people who are listening is because, like, it's going to be hard, man.
It's not easy. And
and
you still have that respect for people that were there with you when you went through that.
Yeah.
And I think that's I was laughing taking the train in today because I saw a post come from my general manager, Kim.
Oh, yeah.
Who her and I just had lunch on December 20th, that Friday. And, Caitlin and some other employees were putting up a picture, and they gave a shout out to Drive, like my Drive family, like Drive Forever type of thing. Sure. And we laughed. And I think when you feel like you're going through hell with a group of people, and like Kim's the one, like, and I know you have people that you've worked with and you feel this way.
Oh, yeah.
Kim's the one that I worked with that I have this like level of loyalty to that I think is on another level. Because this one would get on a train to meet me at my accountant's on 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night in February, just to help us figure out how to get ourselves out of this financial struggle. And when you can get through it now, you can actually sit there and smile about it and laugh about it. But I would never want to go back and change that.
No question, dude. There's no question. I wouldn't want to change those feelings for anything in the world. There's no question, because without those, the feelings of gratitude and success that you have are minuscule because you have nothing to compare it off of, right? And that's what it's all about. And that's what's been the most fun for me. So built this business, into a very nice sized business over a 10-year period, and got a LinkedIn in 2016, a LinkedIn message from a guy named Will McIntosh at the Golf Channel. And it literally, I tell everybody I should probably frame that LinkedIn message because it just said, "Hey, Justin, hearing great things about Revolution Golf. Would love to catch up with you sometime." And it was like when the girl called you for the first time, you didn't want to call back right away if you missed the call. Like you had to play it cool for a minute, right? I remember getting that thing. I was like, all right, I'm not going to, he just sent this through 20 minutes ago. I'm not going to reply to this right away. And, ended up, getting in contact with him. And that was a few minutes later. A day or so later. And he was like, I'll have my assistant. I had no assistant. So I was like, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get on a phone call. And that was during this time we were we were back on the slope, and this was 2016, and the media landscape was changing greatly. And we had this subscription continuity program where people were paying us every single month for content. And it was the right time. And Will has been a fabulous entrepreneur within NBC Universal. And he's really helped shape their direct-to-consumer businesses. To this day, he runs them all. He's the president of our group. One of my closest friends, one of the best entrepreneurs I've ever met in my life. And we, he, over a year's time, we went back and forth and sold Revolution Golf to NBC Universal, which owned the Golf Channel. And so then all of a sudden, I had literally always in my life, I like to say I'd signed both sides of my paycheck, right? So I'd signed the front of it and the back of it. So this is literally the first time I'd ever had a quote job from a company in my life. And I wanted to see my thought was, okay, this is amazing. We've got a little bit farther to go with this business to kind of see this through. And my plan at the time, Will was like, would you stay on for 5 years? I was like, no, I'll stay on for 3 years. Because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was moving to a new place.
Smart.
Orlando, didn't know what it would be like, didn't know what it would be like to have a boss, didn't know what it would be like to work with people that I didn't hire, like that I was kind of forced to work with. And so I was like, I don't know about that. So let's try this 3 years and I could find my way out of it if not. And now that was 8 years ago. And I love the people I work with at NBC Universal, or at our group is called NBC Sports Next. But when you talk about that, you start to go in a different direction. Mm-hmm. So we brought Revolution Golf in. We renamed it GolfPass. We brought in Rory McIlroy to be an owner in that business. And Will gave myself and others kind of free reign to go build that subscription business. And an incredible group of people that I inherited when I moved into there because they were already working at NBC Universal has helped us make this GolfPass an amazing success. And then we have GolfPass. We have a business, Golf Now, which is the leading tee time provider in the world. And we have a youth and recreation sports business called Sports Engine, which is we help children and their parents register for sports teams. We can help control their schedules. We do background checks on the coaches. And so now I'm literally dabble in that business a bit, Sports Engine.
But it's amazing that all these businesses, whether it's Revolution Golf, whether it's the fitness business, it's like storytelling.
It is, dude.
It's such like, you can have the great, Greg Rose from TPI taught me this. He's like, Don, you can create the greatest golf club ever that any hand that you put this into is going to hit the golf ball 50 yards further. And if no one knows about it, you're not going to sell it. And I'm like, well, duh. But he's right. You have to become an exceptional storyteller. And it works on both ends because you see great storytellers selling shit products that, well, people are buying.
Yeah.
Right. But you became a storyteller.
There's no question. You just hit the nail on the head. When people ask me, what are you really good at? I would say, I think I can tell a story pretty well in a convincing way. And I think that is what makes kind of the world go around. If you look at Wall Street, man, why people invest in different companies, who can tell the best story is what they're doing.
Right.
You're not guaranteed that these companies have any runway to be profitable, but if you can tell a story on why they're compelling and why their story makes sense for you to invest into the future of that business, you win the game.
But people in Revolution Golf, they trusted you.
Well,
that's a big part of it.
And you have to, you do need to be sincere in your storytelling. And by the way, it's the same reason one of the many reasons why you are extremely successful, and that is you are the shittiest liar in the world.
Yeah.
You are sincere to the core. And anybody who listens, spends time in your presence, or watches you on social or any of your platforms, that comes through right away. 100%. You can't fake that stuff. So yes, you have to be sincere, you have to believe, but you have to tell a compelling story too. And the story is typically, look, it's not an untrue story. It is just people people want to invest, whether it's their money, their time, their energy, into a great story. And I think the golf community loved Revolution Golf, man. They knew I was the underdog. They knew that I was a pretty sincere guy, that I knew my thesis with it was if you could get people to know, like, and trust you, and you offered them products and services that you believe would sincerely help them get a little bit better at the game, therefore they would enjoy it a little bit more, then you win. Like that was my thesis.
I also felt like they trusted the one-man show.
Yeah.
Because what was interesting, when I saw your business evolve, you were like Justin Tupper against the world of golf.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny in a way
Yeah.
that like people were like, well, how many does he have subscribers? I'm like, yeah, I think he's got like around 3 million. They're
Yeah.
like, 3 million?
Right.
Like, what are you like? These are like Golf Channel type numbers. It was like you were this little engine that could against this powerhouse. And I think everyone saw that because you hear this guy from, Beaufort, South Carolina, doing his videos that, like, to be honest, these were not Miramax quality videos.
No.
You were like shooting them with a camera. You were sitting on a PT table and you were just saying, hey guys, listen, I'm going to level with you. And I think that's what you taught me. You just sucked them in. You were having a conversation. You were speaking to them like they were sitting there. I learned that from you.
Well, you do as well or better than anybody I know.
Thank you.
So I'm glad that rubbed off.
No,
I don't take much credit for that because I think it does come from the person you are. But that's the beautiful thing about where we live right now, in my opinion. Like, look, you can sit here all day and talk about social media is this, social media is that. I'm not going to get into that. What I can tell you is genuine people. Social media provides a platform for real, true, genuine people to win on. I really believe that. And I think that those who are fake and aren't, they're not around long because people they have an instinct.
I always say, just do it for the right reasons, right? It's like I did not get into fitness because my end goal was to become a multimillionaire. You know what? You figure out ways to become successful and you hope that there is something monetary on the other end of something that you love. I mean, you didn't start Revolution. You started Revolution Golf because you loved golf, but you also saw, a business opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But people who sit there and complain about social media, become a storyteller, help people.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm like literally like, this should be your game plan.
Yeah.
Give, free. Use that as lead magnets, lead generators, build your email list, allow them to trust you. And when the time comes, that's your time to sell a product. Yeah. It takes time.
It does take time.
You hear guys like Gary Vaynerchuk with his Wine TV. How many episodes did he shoot?
Oh yeah.
Before it everything went viral. And I think, you're the prime example where things are going well. They're not going well. You didn't complain. You found a way to make it happen. Pivoting now a little bit. Go through because I feel like I have my fingerprint a bit in your trajectory. You've gotten incredibly healthy. Yeah. You dropped a boatload of body fat. I mean, your health level between now and where you were 10, 12, 15 years ago, you're a different person. So talk to me about your process and the time you put in.
So like nowadays, I've always, you and I, it's not uncommon for us to swap texts at 5:20, 5:30 in the morning. I know
you're having your coffee.
I know where I can get in touch with you. I know there's no chance you're not shooting content or doing something or doing anything that you do in your life at 5:20. I know what you're doing. You're making a meal. You're getting ready, thinking about your workout, whatever it might be. So I wake up early. I hydrate first thing. I use Celtic sea salt. I drink a big thing of water before I touch coffee. What I've started to do recently is I used to go for coffee really quickly. Now I give it about 45 minutes after I wake up.
Smart.
I hydrate. I meditate. I don't turn on TV. I try not to look at my phone for that first 40 minutes. I kind of just sit in our house a little bit and kind of think about the day, think about what I'm thankful for, just kind of, before the hectic craziness of the day gets going. 4 days a week. Always. I then train in the morning. I am terrible at training any time after, call it 11:30 in the morning. Life gets in the way. I'm just not as focused. One of the things about training in the morning is it sets up my entire day, right? It sets up, I love getting the hardest stuff done first in my day, whether it in training is typically part of that. Like, where I'm applying stress, I like to do it early. So I will work out. I'll get my workout in, which will either be one of a few places. We have a beautiful home gym at my house. We also have a few different fitness facilities we go to. It just depends on my mood and my day where I'll go. But that kind of does it. I finish that, and then I eat some breakfast, and then I'm kind of off to the races. I use my Whoop here to monitor my sleep. I know I am not terrific with less than 6 hours of sleep. My sweet spot's between 7 and 8, and I try one day on the weekend to get close to 9.
It's a special day.
Yeah, I know. I don't drink much alcohol, very little alcohol. And like all these things sort of add up to those are kind of modalities. We have a Morizuko, I think it's called,
cold
plunge. I do that 3 or 4 days a week. Never, always before training. Yep. Or that is one thing I will do at 7:30 at night before I go to bed. Yeah. It helps tremendously for me personally. Yeah. Yep. So I've gotten pretty religious about that. We don't have a sauna. We have a steam room. I want to get a sauna. I just got to figure out a place to put a sauna in our house. But that's kind of it. And like, dude, what I'm saying is like from our days at Drive 495, you instilled into me many of these consistencies, many of these modalities. And it goes back to those days at Drive. I
mean, it's top. Thank you for this day. This has been amazing. Man. I think we're going to take some questions, right?
Okay.
What we do is we'll take a few callers in that are going to ask you and I questions. It's going to be real time. Yeah. We're going to answer them on the spot. But I think it's a great way for us to interact and get people involved. And it kind of reminds you of the Z100 days where you would call in. Yeah, man. And out of nowhere, they're answering someone live, who's driving to work or mindset questions to fitness questions. I think right now we got Mark from Dallas. Mark, what's going on?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. Yes. Yeah. I'm Don and this is Justin. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, really appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you guys today. So I'll give you a little background. 49-year-old, 4 kids. My youngest is our pride and joy. He's a quadriplegic cerebral palsy from birth. I think my workout regime over the last 13 years has been lifting him and getting him from one place to the other. And that's really about all I've been able to do. And as he's getting bigger, he's almost 70 pounds now, and I'm getting older. I think just trying to think about how I can best prolong my ability to care for him, get him where he needs to be without deteriorating my own physical health. I think that's kind of where I'd love to just get some insights.
Sure. You want me to kick this first?
Yeah.
So first off, I'd love to meet your boy one day. I mean, he sounds incredible.
Great.
He sounds incredible. I actually do have some experience with this. My next door neighbor, Christian Conti, who I met in the 4th grade, his parents adopted him with CP. So now he's 18 years old. He just got into Hofstra University. He's in a wheelchair, and he can do what he can do, but he wheels himself over to the barn on his electric wheelchair anytime he's home. He's usually home Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we have him doing some weights. And it's inspiring to see the mindset of this young man right now. And I think it's fantastic. I can relate because I see my buddy Anthony Conti going through this. He turned to me the other day and he said, I think I have to change vehicles now because I can't lift him up anymore into his Suburban. So maybe going back to a van that has some sort of a lift. I know a buddy of mine who owned a Chevrolet dealership. They were able to put a lift in a van. Those are always things that if you can add, fantastic. But in reference to you, I would just recommend, resistance training is something for yourself that I feel like every human being needs to be creating tension with their body. Muscle is body armor. Bone density is going to deteriorate. Muscle is going to deteriorate. We're all going to lose it in time. Muscle is our body armor. It's what's going to protect us. It's going to help us with our metabolism in time. It's going to help us with longevity. Great book by Dr. Gabrielle Lyon called Forever Strong. I would look up and I would purchase that book. It's a phenomenal book. But I think at the very least, don't overwhelm yourself with 5 workouts a week at 90 minutes. It's not realistic. I would start with 3 days a week, 20 to 30 minutes. I have a great program on my site that if you message me and my team at support@donsaladino.com. It's my gift to you. It's a back to the basics program. So it's nothing that's high impact. We've got some mobility mixed in there. I've got a dumbbell only program or a gym based program. And just to get you moving where we're getting those right muscles to engage, getting that core to engage. I think, listen, 49, I'm catching you. I'll be 48 this April. The recovery piece of it doesn't get any easier. I'm going to kick it to Justin because I think he can attest right now to the fact that he's been, as he's getting older, you're feeling better, but you're not killing yourself every day. No. Talk about that for tomorrow.
Yeah. First of all, one thing that Don has always taught me is about functional strength, right? And that is exactly what you're doing with your son. And that is, the secret to functional strength is exactly what Don said. Get in the gym. You're going to get stronger. You can get strong. I'm 50, so I'm older than you. I can talk to you like you're a junior. And just, start somewhere, maintain muscle, try to keep muscle, and that will allow you to help him out as long as you can. And then, like Don said, at some point you got to use simple machines like levers and a new truck or whatever that might take. But such an admirable reason why that I'm sure you'll get into the gym and fall in love with the experience. One thing that I do like about the gym, about what you can do at our point in life, is give yourself some grace. Get in there, start lifting some weights. Understand you're not going to lift the entire rack. You're not going to lift weights like this guy. Just get in there and create that habit, and then you'll start to love it. And one day you'll wake up and you'll feel stronger. So, like that's my advice.
Mark, there's a word that he kept using with me today, and it's consistency. And I'm not going to tell you you're going to wake up every day and you're going to have the motivation to do it, but the discipline piece and saying to yourself, I'm not only doing this for myself, but I'm doing this for my son. Getting in there on days you're not feeling good, dog it. I say it's a term I use, dog it. I don't care if it's at 50% intensity. I don't care about the intensity piece. Consistency will trump intensity. Gabrielle Lyon's book is phenomenal. Message my team, support@donsaladino.com. Tell them that you were on my podcast today. And I specifically said for them to put you in contact with me, and I'll have my team deliver to you that program on our app. And I think there's all videos on it. I think it's something that you're going to be able to just be mindful about. Go in there, do your best. Certain days, I understand how stressful it can be at times through my neighbor. Obviously, I'm not in your situation, but I'm here to help. Okay.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the guidance. Just to kind of how to get started and create those rhythms would be tremendous. So I really appreciate that.
Easy for me to do. Easy for me to do. Take me up on it. Support@donsaladino.com, and I'll make sure that you have that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Great meeting.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Great answer, Tom.
Thanks.
Hey, Christine, how you doing?
Hi.
New York City. I love it. We're on 23rd Street right now. Where are you located? What area?
You are very close.
Okay.
I'm on 12th Street.
All right, don't worry. We're not asking for an exact address. I'm not going to get creepy on you, I promise. But it's fantastic to meet you. This is Justin.
Hi.
And I'm Don. Let's hear your question. Hopefully we can help.
So I will open up by saying I am a lazy fitness person. What is the least I can do? I joined a gym a few years ago just so I could use the sauna. I mean, that's probably my
perfect
favorite activity. Sitting and sweating while getting my heart rate up.
Listen, it's better than nothing. It really is. Saunas are scientifically proven.
It's made a huge difference, and it feels so good, right? Ultimately.
I love it.
But my question today is about doing the same exercises. I have a really simple routine, so I can't overthink it and not do it. But my question is, do exercises lose their benefit do they lose their benefit over time if you just do the same ones?
First off, it's way better than not doing anything at all. Yeah. So if you're going to turn around every day and you're going to do, say, a lunge and a push-up and some type of a pulling movement, like right there, you created a full body workout with 3 exercises. So that's, to me, phenomenal. I think people put, a lot, like muscles don't get confused, right? I think more of the fact that we begin to fall into a little bit of a rut of doing the same things over and over from a psychological standpoint. I think doing a lot of the same stuff can get boring, but I also like challenging the joint. And I like challenging the body at different angles. I think it's fun. But if you're one of these people that just you find a routine that you really love and you're comfortable with it, go for it. I could tell you though, it gets exciting sometimes when you transition to a couple of new exercises that you're not used to doing. I think the problem is that we overwhelm ourselves and you'll turn around and suddenly it's a whole new program and it's 10 new exercises and you've been so comfortable and efficient with your time. And now you're sitting there learning this whole new system and it's a little bit awkward in the beginning. So to answer your question, doing something's better than doing nothing. But I think the variability, if we're choosing the right exercises, I think can be incredibly beneficial. Just kicking it to Justin right now, you've mixed programs up, but you're also a bit of a creature of habit at times and but that's worked for you.
No. So I totally understand where you come from. It's being a creature of habit, knowing the outcome, knowing what you're doing next. There's something comforting about that. And like Don says, the best part is that you are doing it and and having some consistency. When I lived in New York City, Don and I, even though he owned a fitness facility, we would often go across town to another fitness facility and change up the program.
The environment.
We did everything. We went, remember we went to Soul Cycle that time you and Seb did on the Upper West Side?
Just to get a sweat in a different environment.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is sometimes, we get to be creatures of habit. We get to do the same thing. But if you challenge yourself to just go pay a day pass at a different gym or go to a cycling place that you wouldn't normally do, just to switch it up, you might sort of find yourself like, okay, I like that.
Yeah. And I think playing to your strengths are important. So I've had people call me up in the past and they're like, for some reason, when I hit the 20-minute mark with every workout, I lose complete interest. So like as a joke, kind of a joke, I'll name it the 18-minute workout, right? And I'll send it over to them and I'll use it as timer. I'll put a timer on it and say, you'll get this program done in 18 minutes or 18 minutes and 30 seconds. And they're like,
perfect.
oh my God, is that enough? Let's build some confidence. Let's show progress. Because when you start progressing, then the motivation starts picking up. And suddenly you're like, wow, I really enjoy how I feel. I call them non-scale victories.
Yeah.
I want you to find those NSVs, those non-scale victories. I want you to just recognize that the sauna makes you feel good and that going in and doing some exercise makes you feel good. I don't care, Christine, if it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour. Do what's that you feel is your strong point, stay consistent at it, and then rinse and repeat.
That is so great to hear, because it seems like everything you read or whenever you ask, the trainers at the gym kind of informally, they tell you have to switch it up and you do more. And I know that's part of, bigger.
Listen, I'd rather you not switch it up and build some confidence with it and enjoy it. And then you know what? It's switching it up entirely. Maybe a dumbbell press laying on a bench becomes a vertical press. Maybe you switch up one exercise, or maybe you've been doing stationary lunges and you know what, this workout, I'm going to try walking lunges. It doesn't have to be where you reinvent the wheel with every exercise. Try switching up one movement. Check it out on video at home or someone you trust. Like you can go to my site. There's more free content there than you'll know what to do with. And you'll say, wow, that's interesting. For Don's legs, he did goblet squats one day and I saw him do walking lunges. Instead of goblet squats today, I'm going to try those walking lunges. That's variability there. And that's what coaching is. Coaching is about recognizing what it is we're working with and allowing you to be successful with it. And that's what I think you should do.
I love that. Introducing one new thing. Yeah. Because I'll just YouTube something, what will burn more calories in my butt exercise or something.
And that's a very normal thing. It's actually a good, that's a good title there. I might try that one, but try that. Try one thing at a time. Start there.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Great meeting you. So, great questions. Non-challenger questions, by the way. I didn't know any of those people, which makes me feel good. You're like a coach on the side.
You spend enough time around you.
Thank you.
You hear a lot, and I actually listen, Don. I do listen to you.
You do. Listen, man. Yeah. Again, everything I said in the beginning, I meant. I'm grateful for you. I know we got still a lot of work to do in life and a lot of great stuff ahead of us. But thank you for Justin. Just so everyone knows, Justin got on a flight this morning from Orlando. Got in a car service, showed up here, has the car service waiting, is leaving, getting back on a plane and flying back to Orlando.
Be home to Tori by dinner. Well, listen, Don, you have been such a big part of my life.
Thank you.
One of the parts that I left out was when I did live up here. And didn't have family up here, I would often jump on the LIE and come out, and your family would open their house to me. I stayed a lot of nights with you all. I spent a lot of time with your parents, with your kids, with Mel, and that was really helpful to me.
Thank you, buddy. Well, love you, man.
And I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here.
Love you, man.
And love you too, bud.
Thanks.
The views, information, or opinions expressed in the series are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Chip and Joanna Gaines, Buy Now Audio, nor Magnolia.